Namato Ratana Tayassa. May I pay homage to Triple Zem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening everyone. Today is Monday the 1st of February 2021, and this is Ajahn Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. As usual, I'm here with you tonight. Hello Yvonne, hello Margaret, and everyone, those who are here joining with us on this Varapunya Meditation Center Facebook live Dhamma talk. First of all, just an announcement that tomorrow, as a Tuesday evening, there won't be a talk at 6:30, but you are welcome to join a Zoom account and joining the chanting at 7 o'clock and meditation, and after the meditation there will be a discussion that you are most welcome to join with us. So there won't be a talk tomorrow evening. Further on, this afternoon, I was asked a very special question about, some of you may have heard the coup in Myanmar, and Aung San Suu Kyi is detained, and how the military take control over. And the question came and asked that how a Buddhist country and being a Buddhist could have such a bad behaviors and torturing and causing this trouble, and rather than giving this democracy, why having it. Now, it is quite sad that it is not that once you become a Buddhist, you are not going to do any other bad things. Whenever the people are corrupted, corruption by the money, by the power, by the fame, then they could do anything for maintaining that power, that fame, and that richness. So that's why, regardless of whatever religion a person is believing in, not by just saying that I am a Buddhist or I am a Christian or I am a Muslim, there will be a good Buddhist, a good Christian, or a good Muslim. As long as a person hasn't understood properly and haven't practiced in accordance with the teachings, there's always a possibility, and people will be using religion to misusing the religion, and which we have seen a lot of information and a lot of news and a lot of events that related to misuse of a religion. It's like even the so-called Islamic fanatists or like that. And even the history we can see, and some of the great wars and conflict that occur, and that's mostly again misused. The leaders have misused the religion, and which is again another reason why people sometimes misunderstood that once you become a Buddhist or a Christian or a Muslim, then why there is such conflicts. So it's not by stamping yourself as this religious person or that religious person and you become real followers of it, even like the Buddhists. So one has to practice properly, and once you have practiced properly, only then you will be able to understand the nature is such. So, and according to Buddha's teachings, as long as a person hasn't attained the first stream enterer, the first noblehood called a Sotapanna, then there is always possibility of corruption in our minds due to the fame, due to the name, due to the wealth, and due to the power. And there is always tendency that someone will misuse so-called religion. In another way, in a social theoretical way, we can look at that religion and politics goes hand in hand, and two sides of a governing body of that nation. Politics governing the body is basically governing all the people with the rules, the worldly rules, and governing the people with the politics, the rules and then regulation, so-called constitution, in line with the constitution, whereas religion is governing people with their mind. And some, like there are religion used, theistic religion and atheistic religion, and both religions use mental form or spiritual security to control people. So that's why it's very important to understand that it is not by saying I am a Buddhist or a Christian or a Muslim and become a real follower, but a person who has fully understood and practice in accordance with the teachings, and then only becomes the real follower. And which is why when we look at the Buddha's teachings, Buddha said that we have to realize by our own practice and see the true knowledge. The very moment when we understood the true knowledge, then we become the real followers of that. Yeah? So that is why don't be disappointed by thinking that, oh, they are a Buddhist and they are Christian, then why they are behaving that way. So that is my response. Okay? So basically people are misusing a religion to for their own benefit, and that can be different anyway. Yeah. So now let's go to the study our topic of the day, and this is again just to remind you that I am reading this Samyukta Nikaya, and also within that Samyukta Nikaya I'm reading the Satipatthana Samyutta, the connected discourses on the Satipatthana, the mindfulness. And so far we have gone 7 suttas, 7 discourses, and how Buddha explained those suttas in different ways, that why the 4 establishment of a mindfulness or the Satipatthana is important in various ways. And so today I will be reading 2 discourses which is related to one another, and I will explain as I understood, and will try to make a sense of it so that you can also understand what this means and how can we further practice the mindfulness meditation. And this is the sutta called the cook. And it's called Sutta Suttas. The Sutta means a cooker, a person who cooks food. And the first sutta, the first discourse, is about the incompetent cook. I am incompetent cook. So I don't know how to cook. And I think I have mentioned a couple of times that the first time when I came to UK, I had to cook food, and I had to learn how to cook food. And all the food that I have cooked, only me can eat, rest of others can't eat. So I'm not a competent cook. So here the incompetent cook. Because suppose a foolish, incompetent, unskilled cook were to present a king or a royal minister with various kinds of curries, sour, bitter, pungent, sweet, sharp, mild, salty, bland. That foolish, incompetent, unskilled cook does not pick up the sign of his own master's preference. Today, this curry pleased my master, or he reached for this one, or he took a lot of this one, or he spoke in praise of this one, or the shower curry pleased my master today, or he reached for the shower one, or he took a lot of it. He spoke in praise of this shower food, or the bitter curry, or the plunged curry, or the sweet, or the bland curry pleased my master, or he spoke in praise of the bland one. That foolish, incompetent, unskilled cook does not gain gifts like clothing, wages, and bonuses. For what reason? Because that foolish, incompetent, unskilled cook does not pick up the signs of his own master's preference. And I think this is quite understandable, that if you are working for someone and then you do not know that what type of a food the master likes, or you simply do not try to pay attention to on it, and then obviously at the end the master will not keep you, and also you will not get any bonuses. That's why here says, this foolish, incompetent, unskillful will not pay attention to that master's preference, and as a result of that, the master will not give any bonuses or gifts. And then, and this is very, we understand. So I won't be able to be a good cook. If I cook, then I won't get any gifts at all. Not only the gifts, the food will be thrown away. But I become good with fried rice somehow, and that's the only one I can trust myself that other people can eat. Anyway, and then further on, Buddha said, "So too, bhikkhus, here some foolish, incompetent, unskillful bhikkhus dwell contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regards to the world. While he dwells contemplating the body in the body, his mind does not become concentrated. His corruption are not abandoned. He does not pick up the signs." And this is the important here. Now, we've been practicing meditation, and every day, almost every day, we've been practicing meditation, and we can feel our body, and we are concentrating on that. We have put much effort on this, and yet sometimes, our mind is not concentrated all around, and that's it's a corruption. By our mind is corrupted by the hindrances, and that are the essential pleasures, and ill will, a thought of ill will, and restlessness, and sloth and torpor, and then the doubt. So these will corrupt our mind away, and pretty often we can see that when we meditate, we will not be able to concentrate, and these hindrances will just take control over us. And with that, again, it says, he does not pick up the sign. And here, does not pick up the sign, here basically saying that sometimes we practice meditation in certain level and certain stages, and meanwhile, we have to recognize that how far have I improved? How far have I developed in the practice? And this is called the pick up the sign. And here the sign, basically, it's quite a deeper one here. Pick up the sign here, it's talking about the real insight, understanding of the real insight that from the 16 knowledges. It's called Vipassana Jnana, 16 knowledge. And this sign basically talking about the from the 12, a sign of a 12 to 13. Yeah? But anyway, we don't have to go that deeper. But basically, is suggesting us to recognize that how far have we developed, how far have we progressed in our practice. Now, in this 16 knowledges that starts from, first of all, we have to purify our morality, our ethical living, and that is, it's called Sila Visuddhi. And here we don't have to be a monk, and go and live in the monasteries. But what it is suggesting is that practice at least of 5 precepts. Practicing 5 precepts is good enough to further go and get the progress in the meditation. And as we know, once we are practicing 5 precepts, basically we ourselves become normal. And this is, I normally say, the moment when we break a rule, we become abnormal. So we are mentally unfit. Our mental well-being has been violated. So we basically become abnormal. If we want to have, mentally well-being, we should practice these 5 precepts, so we will be free from any violations, we will be free from any punishment, we will be free from any doubts and any emotionally hampered our mind. So that's the first thing we have to practice. That's the purification of 5 precepts. So at least 5 precepts we are practicing soundly and perfect. And the second is, we have to make sure that our mind is relatively tamed, and we know that how much we have tamed, and we know that how much we have to do, and we also know how to use this mind for the greater benefit. And here greater benefit is benefit for ourselves, and then also benefit for others and benefit for the both. And I have explained a couple of times that it shouldn't be benefit only for oneself, because if that's benefit for oneself, then we can be corrupted. And we are not having any compassion at all to anybody else, but we will simply think about our own good and benefit. So that's why it should be beneficial for both parties. And the third is ability to understand or define the difference between a mind and a matter. So once we know how to define this mind and a matter, what happens is that we will be able to understand how our mind and our body is conditioning one another. Yeah? So it's called a paccaya parikkaha. It's one another is being conditioning one another to arise. Yeah? And the third, what happens is we will be able to comprehend it, that what is the real understanding of it, or how it is arising and how it is vanishing. So that we need to develop. And the further, we also need to understand that as things arises, that is subject to vanishing too. So that's any condition, things that arises, that is subject to cease. And this is also we need to understand. And and further on, what we need to understand that everything is going to cease, or everything is going to end at the end. So there is nothing that will last forever. Doesn't matter what kind of a suffering that we are, doesn't matter what kind of emotionally traumatized we are, end of the day it is going to be end. There's always end. Doesn't matter what it is. And having seen that everything is end, we feel like, oh, what a miserable we are, that we are always wanting to get, wanting to have, and wanting to engage in this worldly matter, and thinking that our life is eternal. So like that, so we become like a little bit of miserable in that, understanding this misery, and we feel this passion towards it. And then having understood this passion, we will be able to see that how to overcome this desire, and how to observe it very objectively, And once we have fully observed it objectively, then we will be able to understand that how it is forming and how it is creating and how are we adapting and how our knowledge or understanding become mature. So that is the moment. These are the stages that we need to understand that how much we have developed. And here is talking about this maturity of our knowledge, that whether after practicing am I having this maturity of my knowledge or not. Yeah. Similarly, when we are contemplating on our feelings, it is not just a feeling that we are contemplating. We have to understand that a feeling is conditioned and our mind is knowing it. And again, I have mentioned a couple of times that the moment when we do not understand this feeling as real feeling, we convert it into the emotion. And then when we convert it into emotion, our attachment to the emotion becomes greater, and that brings suffering. Yeah? So the practice is basically to understand that, and rather than going into the process of a recreation, we basically understanding that after I have been paying attention to this feeling, whether it is leading me to development or not, whether am I getting concentration or not, whether am I developing right understanding or not. So this needs to be understood. So the Buddha is simply saying that a person who do not understand it, basically, although they are practicing, will be like a incompetent cook. It will be like an incompetent cook who doesn't pay attention to its own master, that what kind of a food or what kind of a taste the master wants. So here basically suggesting that even though we are practicing mindfulness meditation, we have to check again and again that am I practicing correctly? Am I getting progress in the practice or not? Am I having a good understanding or not? So basic term, we can check it that is it making my mind clearer, my mind purer, or my mind full of kindness and compassion or not? And that's full of compassion, kindness and compassion is again starting from ourselves. And then the further on, we need to check ourselves that whether it is making me to overcome my sorrow, sadness, boring, and any types of mental disturbances or not. And further on, is it helping me to overcome any physical pain or not? Physical pain or not? And is it helping me to live my life better or not? Is it helping me to cope with my situation or not? So this needs to be understood, and always checking it along with that. And then meanwhile, we need to check ourselves that the practice or the object of a meditation that I am practicing, whether it is conducive to me or not, whether it is in accordance with my temperament or not, whether it is helping me to grow confidence in the practice or not, and developing this confidence or not. So this needs to check again and again so that we will get more understanding of it. And this is again, once we have checked it in these ways, basically means that we become the competent cook who pays attention to his master or her master, that what type of a food he likes, what type of a taste he likes, and then as a competent cook he would go and prepare following days, and that okay, my master likes this food, this taste, and he will be trying to make as close to as it was. And with that, the master will be pleased for the food, and then praise the cook So with that praise, the master will give gifts, so that as a gift of clothes and wage and bonuses. And that is simply referring to the practice that if we are practicing correctly and checking and finding out that whether our mind is concentrated or not, and whether am I getting benefit from the practice or not, am I getting calmness or not, like these form of paying close attention to our own practice helps us to grow and to get the progress in our meditation. And with this practice, what happens is eventually, we will be able to rejoice. We will be able to rejoice, and will be dwelling in pleasant abode. So the ending, the conclusion, the Buddha said, that wise, competent, skillful bhikkhu gain pleasant dwelling in this very life, and he gains mindfulness and clear comprehension. What for that reason? Because bhikkhus, that wise, competent, skillful bhikkhu, picks up the sign of his own mind. So he will be happy and living in a pleasant moment in this life with the mindfulness and clear comprehension. So ability to comprehend things that one is practicing. So remember that when we are practicing, always ask that, am I practicing correctly or not? Am I developing correctly or not? Am I getting progress or not? Am I getting helped or not after practicing these meditation? Whether we are practicing the anapanasati, whether we are practicing any other forms of meditation, always ask if that is helping to overcome, helping to clean your mind, pure your mind, helping you to overcome all the sadness and suffering and sorrow and lamentation, and overcoming the physical pain and displeasure, and leading to gain more knowledge, then continue practicing. And this is how you become a good, competent cook for your own self. So you are cooking your mind to get good rewards, which is the pleasant dwelling in this very life with the mindfulness and clear comprehension. So I end here for tonight, and thank you everyone for listening, and may you all be well and happy. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you. In a few moments time, we're going to have evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. If you would like to have a Zoom account, text me so I can text you, so you can join the Zoom rather than listening from the Facebook. Thank you.